She stormed into the driveway before I could even step out of my truck. Her voice cut through the quiet evening like a siren. "Get off my property right now, or I'll have you arrested!" My hands froze on the door handle. Property? I looked past her at the ranch house. The same house my grandpa built with his bare hands. The same land deed he passed down to me. This wasn't just someplace. This was blood and history. She wasn't done. Karen shoved a crumpled paper in my face, stamped with a fake-looking HOA logo. "As the community enforcer, I'm serving you notice. You're trespassing, and your truck will be towed in 10 minutes. She said it like she was the sheriff, her chin raised, daring me to challenge her. I stayed calm, though my chest burned. "You might want to step back," I told her, keeping my voice low. "Because the last man who tried to tell me I don't belong here, well, let's just say he's not around anymore." Her eyes flickered, a brief crack in her confidence. But then she smirked like she was untouchable. That's when two men in cheap uniforms walked up from the street, flashing fake badges. "Ma'am, we'll handle him," one of them said, trying to puff up his chest. They weren't cops. I knew real officers, and these clowns couldn't even button their shirts straight. Karen folded her arms, triumphant, waiting for them to drag me away like some criminal. But she didn't know who she was dealing with. I leaned on the truck door, calm as a Sunday morning. "Before you boys try anything, you should probably know something." The air went heavy. Even the cicadas seemed to quiet down. I let the silence stretch, then said it plain and clear. "I'm the mayor of this town." The color drained from their faces. Karen blinked fast like she misheard. "Mayor?" She spat, but her voice wavered this time. I pulled my wallet, flipped it open to show the city seal and my ID. Their fake badges suddenly looked like Halloween props in comparison. Karen stumbled back a step, her paper notice shaking in her hand. For the first time, she didn't have words ready. I locked eyes with her and said the line that would burn into her memory. "You just stormed into the mayor's ranch, claiming it's yours. You sure you still want to play this game?" Karen's fake confidence snapped back in an instant. Like a snake striking after being cornered, she raised her voice louder than before, yelling toward the road. "He's lying! He forged that ID. I know fraud when I see it." Her scream carried across the ranch like an alarm bell. Neighbors walking their dogs stopped in the distance, whispering to each other. And that was exactly what Karen wanted. An audience. She thrived on it. The two fake cops stepped closer, trying to use their cheap intimidation. One of them pulled a pair of rusty handcuffs from his belt and said, "Sir, step away from the vehicle. You're under arrest for trespassing and forgery." Their words echoed like a bad script. My blood simmered, but I didn't move. Instead, I reached inside my truck window and tapped the dashcam screen. A small red light blinked, recording every second. Karen's face twitched when she saw it. She hissed through her teeth, "Turn that off!" "You don't have the right to film me." Her voice cracked, but her pride wouldn't let her stop. I smiled coldly. "On my land? With fake cops on my driveway? Trust me, Karen, I not only have the right, I have the duty." The crowd on the sidewalk grew bigger now. Phones were out. People were recording. Karen hadn't expected this many witnesses. She snapped her fingers at the fake officers like they were her personal bodyguards. "Do your job. Arrest him," she barked. One of them grabbed my arm, but I didn't flinch. I turned slowly and locked eyes with him. "You lay one finger on me again," I said quietly, "and I'll make one call that'll end your whole career, assuming you even had one." The man froze. His partner shifted nervously, whispering something about maybe we should wait for real backup. Karen spun on him like a wildfire. "Don't you dare back down! This is my neighborhood, and I won't let some squatter mayor take it over." That word, squatter, burned. My grandpa's boots still sat on the porch, his tools still hanging in the barn. This was no squat. This was legacy. I pulled my phone from my pocket and dialed a number I never thought I'd use on my first night back here. Within seconds, a calm but firm voice answered. "Mayor, what's the situation?" Karen's eyes widened. She heard it. She finally realized this wasn't a bluff. I lifted the phone to my ear, speaking slow so every word cut sharp. "Send 2 units to my ranch. I have imposters posing as officers, and a trespasser claiming she owns the land." The fake cops panicked. One muttered, "He really is the mayor," and they both started backing away, trying to look casual, but the damage was done. The crowd was buzzing now, some even cheering under their breath. Karen, though, wasn't giving up. She shoved her crumpled paper into my chest, her voice trembling but still loud. You think you're powerful? You think being mayor makes you untouchable? You don't know who I am. Her eyes burned with a strange mix of rage and fear. I have friends in higher places than you could ever imagine. I looked at her, steady, unblinking. Then call them. Because when the real police get here, you're going to need all the help you can find. And just as I said it, sirens wailed faintly in the distance, growing closer. The red and blue lights washed over the ranch as 2 real patrol cars pulled up, tires crunching the gravel. The crowd outside leaned forward, phones raised high, whispering louder now. This was turning into a scene no one wanted to miss. Karen straightened her shoulders, her face twisting into that smug grin again, like she was about to turn the whole thing in her favor. The officers stepped out, real uniforms gleaming under the headlights. One of them, a tall sergeant with a voice like steel, looked from me to the fake cop still lingering awkwardly near the gate. "What's going on here?" he demanded. Karen jumped in before I could answer. "Finally!" she shouted, waving the crumpled paper in her hand. "Arrest this man! He's trespassing on my property, flashing fake IDs, and threatening me. These officers already confirmed it." She pointed to the imposters, but they suddenly looked like deer caught in headlights. The sergeant squinted at them. "Officers? Which precinct are you from?" The silence was brutal. One fake cop stuttered, the other shifted his feet. Karen's smile faltered. The sergeant stepped closer, yanked one of their plastic badges and tossed it to the ground. "These aren't real." He turned toward me, firm but respectful. "Sir, you got ID on you?" I handed him my mayoral card embossed with the seal. His eyes widened, then his posture snapped straight. "Mayor?" He looked at the crowd, then back at me. His tone changed instantly, professional, deferential. "My apologies, sir. We'll handle this." Karen's jaw dropped. She tried to push forward, screaming, "No! He's lying. He's not the mayor. He's—" But her voice cracked under the weight of her own crumbling authority. The crowd was already murmuring, some laughing, some shaking their heads. Then came the twist she didn't see coming. The second officer, a younger cop with sharp eyes, pulled something from his radio. "Dispatch confirms the mayor owns this property. Deed and records all clear." He turned toward Karen, voice firm. "Ma'am, you have no standing here." "This is his land." Karen staggered back like she'd been slapped. "That's impossible," she whispered. Her paper fluttered to the ground, useless now. But even cornered, she wasn't done. She jabbed a finger at me, trembling with rage. "You don't understand. I own this neighborhood. I can get the county, the state, even the governor to side with me." "You'll see." I stepped forward, my voice low enough for her to feel the weight of every word. "You stormed into my ranch with fake cops. You lied in front of witnesses. And now you're threatening state officials? Karen, you're not digging yourself out. You're burying yourself deeper." The officers began cuffing the imposters, reading their rights. The crowd cheered, phones recording every second. But Karen twisted away, wild-eyed, grabbing onto the porch rail as if she could anchor herself against reality. "I'm not the villain here," she screamed. "He is! He's hiding something. You'll all regret siding with him." Her voice cracked into a shriek, echoing across the open land. I didn't flinch. I let her words hang in the night air, then said what everyone in that crowd was waiting to hear. "You wanted the spotlight, Karen. Now the whole town's watching." The sergeant looked at me. "Sir, do you want us to remove her from the property?" The sirens faded, the crowd held its breath, and Karen clutched the railing, still trembling with fury. But deep down, I could see it in her eyes. She wasn't beaten yet. She had something else planned. And I knew. The real fight was only just beginning. Karen's hands shook as the sergeant moved toward her. Her fake authority was gone, but the wild gleam in her eyes said she wasn't done. She jerked free from the porch rail and shouted, "Don't touch me! You'll regret this. I'll sue this entire department." Her voice was sharp, desperate, reaching for control she no longer had. The crowd booed, some even laughed outright. Cameras zoomed in. She was being exposed in real time. But then she pulled her final card. From her bag, she yanked out a folder stuffed with papers and waved them like a weapon. "I have contracts. Documents proving I control this land. He's a fraud, and I can prove it," she screamed, thrusting the pages into the air. The sergeant took them, flipping through with a frown. His brows furrowed deeper with each sheet. Cheap photocopies, Mismatched signatures, fake county stamps. He looked up at her, voice flat. "These are forgeries, ma'am." Karen froze, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to argue. But no sound came. The younger officer leaned closer, speaking into his mic. "Dispatch confirms fraudulent documents. We'll need to add charges." The crowd gasped. Phones went higher. Someone yelled, "She's finished!" And laughter rolled across the street. I finally stepped forward, steady and calm. My voice cut through the chaos. "Karen, you didn't just trespass. You didn't just impersonate authority. You tried to erase my family's legacy with lies. I pointed at the barn, the fields, the old windmill my grandpa built. This land is more than dirt. It's history. And you thought you could steal it with paper and noise." Karen's face twisted. But before she could lash out again, the sergeant snapped the cuffs onto her wrists. "Karen Miller, you're under arrest for trespassing, fraud, and attempted impersonation of government authority." The click of metal echoed like a final verdict. The crowd erupted, cheers, whistles, shouts of, "Finally!" As they led her toward the cruiser, she twisted back to glare at me, her voice breaking. "This isn't over! You'll regret crossing me." I stepped into the headlights, the ranch glowing behind me. My words carried across the silent pause that followed. "I'm the mayor. I don't bow to bullies. Not in my town, not on my land." The crowd roared. Phones caught every second. The moment Karen, the self-proclaimed queen of the neighborhood, was dragged off her fake throne. The imposters already sat cuffed in the second cruiser, heads hanging low. The sergeant approached me one last time, respectful now. "Sir, we'll process them tonight. You did the right thing calling us in." I nodded, looking past him at the porch, the ranch lights warm against the dark. My chest felt heavy, but proud. I didn't fight my way into office to let someone like her take what my family built. I paused, letting the words hang. This land isn't just mine. It's protected, for everyone who knows what it means to fight for what's theirs. The cruisers pulled away, sirens fading into the night. The crowd slowly dispersed, still buzzing, still recording, still talking about what they'd just witnessed. But I stood alone for a moment, staring at the porch where Karen had screamed her last threat. The night was quiet again, the cicadas back, the air heavy with peace. And as I set my boots on the steps, I whispered to myself, "Grandpa, your ranch is safe. No one's taking it from us." For the first time that evening, I felt the weight lift. Justice had been served. And deep down, I knew one thing for certain. Karen would never dare step on this land again.